said it wasn't going. Kevin corrected me. I said, no, Shaw, that's right.
Oh, it's on. Yeah, it looks good right now. I changed them actually this morning, so it should be fine. Sound okay? Test, test. Mic check 1, 2. Audio test 1, 2, 3. Mic check 1, 2. And check, check. Mic check 1, 2. All good? Okay. Actually, I probably will turn it off for a second just until they come. All good on your end? Oops. Hey, Jeff, if you don't mind, give me one last thumbs up with the audio. Give me one last thumbs up on... No, you're good. Just want to double check. I think they're on their way. Good to go? Okay.
Hey guys. You guys are back. I'm gonna be off the side.
Take my usual place.
Marks on the floor.
There's mine before. Those guys have to sit there really still.
Yeah, I know.
I know I'm off camera and I should be like,
I'm ready to try not to spot.
I know, I'm careful. I don't know why that was me.
Oh, yeah.
Follows everything else. Yesterday, neither of my hospital. That's awesome. Neither has. Neither. Wow. We had three.
What was that? Nick? What?
They had
Neither of the hospital had a new COVID case, LBJ or Beta.
Wow.
That's great. We only had three.
The prison though had 30, 36.
Yeah.
That's the problem, you know.
We may break through 100.
That's, you know, what's, the one thing I caution, all of a sudden in the conversation this morning, we all started changing the metrics again. Why?
Yeah.
What
That
was it
was-
that?
That was a really good point.
I was sitting there, I was gonna text you too, go like,
Yeah.
WTF, I mean,
Jim,
we spent all this time, I mean, it's crazy.
Jim spoke up
Yeah,
very well.
Yeah,
Thank God.
we spent all this time getting metrics, it's like, oh, we'll make it 300, we'll make it 400.
It had been 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, I know.
We had, but in 2 weeks, we have those kinds of numbers in the hospitalizations.
All right,
Then, and we can track.
yeah.
Everything else, you know, but not now.
Well, I think we're gonna have to have this cobble of trying to keep people disciplined. I mean, we were disciplined for the longest time, and now that things look a little bit better, it's like, you know,
That's the thing. Human behavior.
it's human behavior for sure. Oh. Oh, thanks. It's okay.
It's a good thing we're always on our best behavior.
Good morning. I'm here this morning with Dr. Shaw, the director of our Harris County Public Health Department, Dr. Porsa, CEO of our Harris Health System, Dr. Mark Boom, CEO of Methodist Hospital System, and Dr. Paul Klotman, the CEO of Baylor College of Medicine. They are the last three are all part of the group of doctors in the Texas Medical Center who've been working together, all the CEOs, to coordinate both patient care and help inform our broader strategy. Let me start with highlighting some news that underscores why we're here today. Yesterday, we had 97 new cases in Harris County outside the city of Houston, 1 new death. In total, between the city of Houston and Harris County, we've crossed the 6,300 case mark. Yesterday, Texas also reported 50 more deaths from this virus, the most in any one day since mid-March. Statewide, we added more than 1,000 new cases of COVID-19, the biggest one-day jump in 3 weeks. I'll be the first to tell you that one day of data doesn't make a trend, but it's a grim reminder that this virus doesn't respect dates on a calendar. It's impossible to pull a date out of thin air and say to the virus, we're ready for you to go away now. That's not how it works. And that's not how any of this works. We can't allow ourselves to be desensitized to what's happening, to lose our sense of humanity. 50 Texans, brothers, sisters, parents, grandparents, sons, and daughters had their lives cut short yesterday from a single invisible killer that still lurks amongst us. Look, I understand how folks feel. I, as you, recognize that the sooner we get the economy up and running again, the fastest we can get our society back on track and recover from this nightmare. I want our economy and our society back open yesterday, as much as everyone. People are hurting, children are missing, they're playing with their friends, families miss each other, folks miss major milestones like weddings, birthdays, graduations, anniversaries. Business owners have lost their lives' work. Workers are struggling just to get by. But we can't ignore what's right around the corner, and that is the resurgence of a virus that can knock us back down and put us right back where we began. There are some who see today as a day of celebration or back to business as usual. My message to them is not so fast. From what we've seen in the news, most folks plan on staying home. Some people are saying, not the majority, but a few people, just a few, are making calls to ignore science, saying that some amount of death is okay in the name of our economy. I'm tired, I'm done, I'm opening up. But that's a false dichotomy. That's not how it works. Reopening doesn't mean mission accomplished. It doesn't mean that the virus goes away. If the virus spreads like wildfire and the hospitals run out of space or are running out of space again, things are going to have to shut back down again. If we do the reopening step by step, carefully, there's a chance of succeeding by slowly reopening. If we're able to contain, and we're able to test, and we're able to trace. There's been some confusion as to who's open and who's closed. The Attorney General issued a clarifying letter just this morning. If you are not essential, as defined by the order I issued or the governor's order, and you are not reopened as classified under the governor's order, the 3 reopenings he listed, you should be closed. I'll be reissuing my order later today to conform with the governor's order and the Attorney General's clarification, and that is what I've shared. Most importantly, just because you can open doesn't mean you should. Earlier this week, I announced 3 steps county government will take to contain the virus as our order moves forward. Some businesses begin to open. It's a strategy focused on expanding testing, tracing, and treatment, ambitious recruitment and deployment of tracers, of tests, which we are doing behind the scenes day and night, every single day, to get this up and running and help our community contain as best and aggressively as humanly possible. My work is not done, our team's work is not done, and yours is not either. And today we're announcing the fourth T in our strategy. That T involves every single resident in Harris County, and that is teamwork. I went to the front lines yesterday to LBJ Hospital, one of our major public hospitals here in Harris County. I visited with doctors and nurses in their COVID unit who are sacrificing every day, many of whom are self-quarantining from their families, putting in long hours, nervous about contracting the virus. We have to do everything we can to let them do their jobs and let them save lives. Everything we can do is to keep those doctors and nurses from getting overwhelmed so they can do their jobs, protect the lives of people, not just those who have coronavirus, but lives of folks with any condition that means they need to be in the hospital. If these doctors and these nurses get overwhelmed, people die en masse, plain and simple. Dr. Porsa, here as the CEO of Harris Health System, our public hospital system, represents these doctors and nurses, brave doctors who are putting in the work, brave nurses, deeply committed, whose work we need to be able to protect. He, as all of us, needs us, you at home, everybody, to continue to do our part to keep our healthcare system afloat. And so Dr. Porsa will go over the three parts that make up this teamwork effort. I will then repeat remarks in Spanish, and we'll hear from the other speakers here. Dr. Porsa.
Good morning, and thank you again, Judge Hidalgo, for your continued forward-thinking and strong leadership. I would like to start, first and foremost, to once again thank the healthcare workers at Harris Health and across the Texas Medical Center and all the rest of the healthcare delivery systems in this area, our first responders, and other essential workers who have been on the front lines and are the heroes of this story. Houston, we have managed to flatten the curve, and that is great news. I'm cautiously optimistic that we may have done well in our efforts to contain the coronavirus, but our work is far from over. Our success so far has not come easy or cheap. You have suffered much in terms of sickness, lost lives, lost wages, lost businesses, and unimaginable emotional and psychological stress over these past few weeks. Because of all your sacrifices, we are now at a point that we can realistically talk about reopening our economy and return to life as we once knew it or something close to it. I want to congratulate you for your success, for your achievement. You have done so much and have given so much of yourselves to get to this point. But I also want to ask you to please, as you just heard from the judge, please remain vigilant and on guard. As I already mentioned, the struggle against the coronavirus pandemic is not over. We are continuing to see new cases of COVID-19 across our region and our hospitals. And people are continuing to die because of this pandemic. Thanks to you, these numbers are dramatically smaller than just a few weeks ago and considerably lower than what they could have been if not for all your hard work and sacrifice. Nearly 2 months ago, this community set out to flatten the curve. And you have done so. I want to remind everybody that our call to action a couple of months ago was the evidence of a community transmission of the coronavirus to just a handful of people. As I already mentioned today, we are still experiencing entirely way too many COVID-19 cases in our community to become non-committal. So as we take a moment to appreciate our collective success in flattening the curve, I want us to be mindful of the danger that remains and ask everyone to join me to double down on doing absolutely everything that we can as we take steps to reclaim our lives. If you can stay home, please do so as much as possible. And practice immaculate hygiene, including covering your cough and sneeze, and washing your hands frequently. And distancing yourself as much as possible if you're sick. When in public, please continue to cover your face and frequently wash or sanitize your hands. In public areas such as shops and restaurants, in addition to covering your face and washing your hands frequently, please continue to observe social distancing by staying at least 6 feet apart. And as the judge already mentioned, really important, I'm asking everybody to please support a contact tracing that, in addition to testing, is going to be integral to ensuring our continued success. We are all in this together. My actions impact you, and your actions impact me. And remember that social distancing does not equate to social isolation. It is beautiful outside. Please enjoy the outdoors. However, do so in a responsible way. We have come a very long way and have paid a very heavy price to be in this position. Please do not let your success slip away, and follow these recommendations. May God bless us all, and thank you again.
Thank you so much, Dr. Porsa, for those remarks. We've done, as he said, incredibly well in this. Just a little bit over a week ago, a few weeks ago, they were saying that we were the next domino to fall, another big city that COVID would devastate. But they didn't know about the people of Harris County. They didn't know about our grit and our determination. What we are not is lucky or special. We've gotten through this because you've responded and heeded warnings, not because we have any special immunity to the virus here. We've gotten through this because of the leaders in this community. And so I'm asking everyone from community members to community leaders, faith leaders, business owners, heads of households. You've all saved lives by example. Right now, we need your help continuing to, as we have work and play virtually. If you don't need to go out, please don't. You can still support businesses through delivery, through takeout. Use those face coverings and support our contact tracers. Let's hear from, or let me repeat the remarks in Spanish, then we'll hear from Dr. Shaw and Drs. Boom and Klotman. Empezaré el día de hoy con noticias que nos recuerdan por qué estamos aquí todavía trabajando en este reto del coronavirus. Desde ayer tenemos 97 casos y una muerte en el condado Harris, fuera de la ciudad de Houston. En total, entre el condado y la ciudad hay más de 6,300 casos. El día de ayer, el estado de Texas reportó 50 muertes más de este virus, más muertes que en cualquier día desde marzo. A nivel estatal, hemos agregado más de 1,000 casos nuevos de COVID-19 el día de ayer. Es el incremento más grande en un solo día en las últimas 3 semanas. Soy la primera que les dirá que un día de noticias, 2 días, 3 días, no significa que sean datos claros. Pero esto sí nos recuerda que el virus no respeta fechas en el calendario. No podemos simplemente escoger una fecha y decir al virus, ok, estamos listos para que se vaya. Así no funciona nada de esto. No podemos perder nuestro sentido de entendimiento de humanidad a las muertes que están sucediendo. 50 tejanos, hijos, hijas, madres, padres, abuelos, han perdido sus vidas ayer a manos de un solo asesino invisible, y ese es este virus. Entre más pronto se recupere la economía, más rápidamente vamos a poder recuperarnos y salir de esta pesadilla. Yo quiero que la economía, que la sociedad reabra ayer. Me encantaría. Muchas personas están sufriendo, los niños extrañan a sus amigos, las familias están extrañando o perdiendo fechas importantes, no están pudiendo celebrar apropiadamente bodas, aniversarios, graduaciones. Los dueños de negocios han perdido lo que han trabajado todas sus vidas en construir. Trabajadores están viendo a ver cómo hacen para mantener sus familias a flote. Pero no podemos ignorar lo que viene. Podría resurgir este virus y ponernos a donde estábamos al principio de esta crisis. Nuevamente comenzar desde cero. Hay algunos que ven el día de hoy como causa de celebración, de todos regresamos a la vida normal. El mensaje a aquellas personas es no tan rápido, no tan rápido. Lo que hemos visto en las noticias, la mayoría de las personas planean seguir quedándose en casa. Algunas personas, no la mayoría ni muchas, pero unas pocas, están diciendo que debemos ignorar la ciencia, que alguna cantidad de muertes está bien en nombre de la economía. Dicen, estoy cansado, ya se acabó, voy a abrir, no me importa. Pero eso pone una dicotomía falsa, no está por un lado el virus y por el otro lado la economía. El solo decidir que va a reabrir algo no significa misión cumplida. El virus no va a desaparecer solo porque alguien abrió. Si el virus empieza a esparcirse nuevamente rápidamente y los hospitales empiezan a quedarse sin espacio, vamos a tener que volver a cerrar todo. Si hacemos esto paso por paso, es posible, no necesariamente probable, pero es posible que logremos abrir paso por paso. Hay un poco de confusión acerca de quién abre y quién cierra. El abogado del Estado mandó una carta esta mañana clarificando. Si usted no es esencial, como lo era bajo mi orden y bajo la orden del gobernador, y no ha reabierto, el gobernador designó 3 o 4 grupos que pueden reabrir con ciertos parámetros. Si no es ni esencial ni reabierto, debe estar cerrado. Voy a emitir mi orden nuevamente más tarde para conformar con la orden del gobernador y con la carta que ha enviado el abogado estatal. Más importantemente, solo porque puede abrir no significa que deba abrir. Es importante recordar eso. Recuerden, todavía estamos intentando contener ese virus. Esta semana anuncié 3 pasos que está tomando el gobierno del condado para contener el virus a medida que nuestra orden avanza y ciertos negocios empiezan a abrir poco a poco. Es una estrategia que se enfoca en expandir las pruebas, en expandir el rastreo y el tratamiento. Estamos trabajando por reclutar y hacer uso de estos nuevos recursos tan rápidamente como es posible, 24 horas del día, casi todos los días, día y noche, para que estemos listos y empezar a contener ese virus. Mi trabajo no ha terminado, el trabajo de nuestro equipo no ha terminado y su trabajo tampoco ha terminado. Hoy estamos anunciando la parte 4 de esa estrategia. Entonces hay pruebas, rastreo, tratamiento y ahora va a haber una 4ª parte. Y ese es el trabajo en equipo. Ayer visité uno de los hospitales públicos más grandes de nuestro condado, el hospital del BJ. Visité doctores, visité enfermeras en la unidad de COVID. Enfermeras y doctores que han estado en cuarentena de sus familias, están trabajando muy duro nerviosos pero listos para seguir luchando. Tenemos que hacer todo lo posible para que ellos puedan seguir haciendo su trabajo y puedan salvar vidas. Todo lo que hacemos es para prevenir que esos doctores y esas enfermeras se vean en una situación donde no puedan hacer su trabajo. Necesitamos que puedan cuidar a las personas que están sufriendo no solo del virus, sino también cualquier otra persona que necesita una cama de hospital. Si ellos se ven abrumados por demasiados casos, las personas morirán por los cientos o miles. Es simple, es lo que se ha visto en otras ciudades y en otros condados. El doctor Porza habló hace un momento representando los doctores y las enfermeras que trabajan en nuestro sistema de hospitales público y presentó con más detalle estas 3 porciones. Trabajen y descansen virtualmente. Continúen haciendo eso. Lo necesitamos que si abrimos sea poco a poco, muy paulatinamente, para que el virus no se le adelante a nuestros rastreadores. Utilice coberturas faciales. Recuerde, no tiene que ser una mascarilla, puede usar una camisa, una camiseta, una pañueleta, una bufanda. Si no tiene mascarilla, no importa, cúbrase la nariz y la boca. Y apoye a nuestros rastreadores. Esos rastreadores van a estar investigando quién tiene el virus. Si alguien llega positivo, van a contactar a sus contactos y no se le va a pedir información personal, sino simplemente preguntar dónde más ha estado para intentar contener ese virus. Si puede, intentar mantener información de cuándo ha venido en contacto con más gente, si es dueño de un restaurante o un negocio, intentar hacer reservaciones para que todo el mundo, para que los rastreadores sepan si necesitan contactar a alguien, quién es y cómo contactarlo. Con eso, el último mensaje simplemente lo hemos hecho muy bien hasta ahora. Hace un par de semanas nos estaban diciendo que seríamos la próxima ciudad, el próximo condado en caer a este virus, pero no sabían que los residentes de este condado eran fuertes, determinados, unidos. Lo que no somos, no tenemos ninguna suerte especial, no tenemos ninguna inmunidad especial. Hemos pasado esto porque ustedes han respondido. Han liderado la respuesta a este virus. Hemos pasado esto por cada miembro de la comunidad y le estoy pidiendo a todo residente, líder comunitario, líder de fe, dueño de negocio, jefe de familia, ha salvado vidas por su ejemplo. Ayúdenos a continuar. Hoy no es día de celebrar y salir todos. Tenemos que hacer esto poco a poco si queremos ser exitosos. Vamos a escuchar al Dr. Shah, los demás doctores, y después responderé preguntas. We'll hear from Dr. Shah, Dr. Boom, Dr. Klopman, and then we'll all be available for questions. Dr. Shah.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you for your continued support and leadership. My name is Dr. Umair Shah, the Executive Director of Harris County Public Health and the Health Authority for Harris County. And today I'm wearing my white jacket, my white coat here, and I join my colleagues, Dr. Klopman, Dr. Porza, Dr. Boom, and I really want to say thank you to our community. You have helped people like us to continue to be able to fight this virus and not see an overwhelming surge in our healthcare system. Dr. Porza is absolutely correct that we have done a fantastic job thus far, and we have flattened this curve, and that's because all of you have helped us. But today is a new day. We are now starting to see things that are reopening. We cannot let our guard down. We have to make sure that we're thinking about this as a long pandemic, which it is. This is the first quarter of a football game, but we have a lot of work still ahead of us. And I know the judge outlined earlier this week the 3 T's, and I do want to remind everyone of test, trace, and treat. Our colleagues here are about the treatment piece, and I cannot thank them enough, and all the ones that you represent in the healthcare system for everything that you all have done, our doctors, our nurses. I would even give a shout out to my emergency department docs and nurses that I work with on a day-to-day basis over the years. I want to say that they are amazing heroes for this fight, and we could not have done this without our community. That said, we know the foundation is testing and testing, 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 and we're doing everything we can to increase that testing capability in the county and throughout our region. At the same time, as we unveil today this gratitude to all of you for the teamwork, it does also put into that second T about tracing. Contact tracing has been used by public health for decades. It is used across the globe. This is what we do as our epidemiology program in terms of contacting people who may have been in contact with a confirmed case. What we're asking you to do is to support that. What that means is that as you get back into society, again, facial coverings, washing your hands, making sure you're socially distanced, and all the messages that we've been saying over and over again, we have to make sure that we underscore those. And if you don't have to go out, please don't go out. This is not the time to get back in, especially if you're older, a senior, above the age of 65, or have chronic health conditions. We want to make sure to emphasize that. But what we mean by support contact tracing as well is keep notice a bit about who you're around. And if there's a way for you to keep track of that, because if 3 days from now you test positive and we contact you to say, hey, who have you been around, and you don't remember, that makes our job extremely difficult in public health. And so we're asking you to be thinking about that. That really helps all of us in a situation where, unfortunately, if you are tested positive. Now, the good news is, again, readyharris.org for our testing. Please go to that online tool that we have, 832-927-7575, to get tested. And the final message of this is that from the tracing standpoint, if we do have to contact somebody for contact tracing, we make sure we assure the privacy of that individual. We do not share that information for other purposes. It's only to fight this virus. And with that, thank you for everything you're doing to help us fight this virus, and keep up that great work. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shaw. We'll hear from Dr. Mark Boom with Methodist Hospital.
Thank you, Judge Hidalgo, and thank you, everybody, and good morning. You know, we're here today with a better topic, but a topic that I think we all agree on we're not done with yet, really because of what's happened from all of you over the last 6 or 7 weeks. When Judge Hidalgo and Mayor Turner issued a stay-home order on March 24th, and people followed that, epidemiologists would have predicted ahead of time that it would take about 2 or so weeks to see an impact of that. And sure enough, on April 10th or 11th, we saw what looks like a peak in the number of cases, a peak in the number of hospitalizations. And since that time, we've come down, and hospitalizations are lower, infection rates are lower, but they've not come down dramatically. It's not a steep decrease. It is a slow decrease with a little bit of a plateau that's occurred. But as a result of those great actions from our leaders, as well as all of you and the sacrifices you've made, we're in a very different position today, one where we have some optimism for the future, but where the actions we all take together will determine where things go. So I want to talk a little bit about the governor's order and where we are today. The governor's order was about slowly and thoughtfully opening back up businesses. It was not about returning our social lives to normal, as much as we would all like that to be the case. In fact, the very first part of his order states that unless you're using an essential business or one of the reopened businesses, you should be staying home, you should be minimizing contact with non-family unit or non-household members, and very importantly, as has been said by my colleagues, anyone over 65 or with risk factors really should continue to be staying at home. And we've done well because of the social contract that we all effectively signed with each other. We've all done the right things to protect each other. Those must continue. From the governor to the lieutenant governor to Judge Hidalgo to Mayor Turner to the leaders of the Texas Medical Center, everyone agrees that wearing masks in public is a good thing to do. And we urge everybody when they are in public to wear their masks. We urge everyone to use great hand hygiene, social distancing, all the practices that we've been talking about. I want to talk a little bit about faith institutions. Last week, over 80 churches signed essentially a pledge to say that throughout May, they would not go back to worship with anyone over 50 individuals. The leaders of the Texas Medical Center strongly and unanimously support that position. Now is simply not the time to pull big groups of people back together. I also want to talk a little bit about hospitals. There's a lot of information out there starting to suggest that people are avoiding getting necessary care. And we're very concerned about that, quite frankly. To give you some perspective, I'll use our data at Houston Methodist, but this would apply to all of the hospitals. We took care of and have taken care of about 700 patients in the hospital with COVID. During that same 2-month period, we've admitted over 15,000 people, much lower than normal, but 15,000 people for emergent care that they need, and we've done so very safely. And now is a time to start providing care back to people who need urgent care that has been deferred. We know we can do that safely, and we don't want to have a second tragedy of people having illnesses and suffering because they're not seeking care. So please work with your physicians, work with your hospitals and others to seek the care that's necessary. And then finally, as we emerge from this and as we move forward and we watch this, it looks like we're in a little bit of an equilibrium right now with the virus. So the virus decides where we go next, but we also can impact how the virus decides where we go next by the actions we take, all the things we've been doing. And one of the things we as leaders of the Texas Medical Center have done is put together a set of dashboards. You can go to the Texas Medical Center website, and you will see those warning signs that we are watching to make sure that as we ease restrictions, that we don't see the virus getting out of control. I promise you we will raise our hand and speak loudly if we do see that happening. With that, I'd like to again thank all of the first responders, all of the wonderful people working across the hospitals to care for individuals, and all of the other people who've been keeping our community going during this time. And thank all of you for your wonderful actions. God bless.
Thank you so much, Dr. Klopman with Baylor.
Thank you. I'd also like to say congratulations to Houston for what we've been able to accomplish so far. But one of the other things besides having wonderful people here is we have a fantastic medical center in the Texas Medical Center and a tremendous number of really outstanding academic institutions. And what you may not know is when that 3 T's, the third T, treatment, but when you don't have effective treatment, you have to rely on public health measures, which we have been doing, and very effectively, and that's really on you, us all, and the public. But we are beginning to get some sense now that there are going to be effective treatments. I know Methodist, Baylor, and several other institutions participated in the clinical trial for remdesivir, which is the first antiviral that's coming online that looks to be effective against treating this particular COVID-19. It's a very well-established scientific principle. It interferes with how the virus replicates, and we got a very positive signal from that, and so there's real reason to be optimistic that at least we're beginning to have a therapeutic that works, not something we're making up, something that actually works. The second thing, to emphasize something that Dr. Boom said, we have the ability to look at a virus and actually sequence that virus and know exactly where it came from. And we have done this in many, many cases, and the virus that we see is coming from the community. It's not coming from inside hospitals. There's no risk so far that we know of that you come to the hospital or you come to a community health center and you acquire the virus. So if you need care, you should feel comfortable doing that. We can't actually tell where that virus came from, and right now it looks like it's really always coming out of the community. So I think that should be reassuring to the public. If you need care, you should talk to your physician and begin to start getting care. I think we just have to keep it up. I think one of the great resources we have in Houston and in Harris County is that our academic medical centers are working very hard to find new discoveries, new treatments, and we will participate in everything that's coming up that's new. We're all participating in the convalescent serum, for example, and that includes our public hospitals and our private hospitals. We're all participating, and we will be with you. I think our academic communities are here to support everything, all the good work you all are doing, and I hope you look to us for facts. We are the people who can give you actually the information you need to make intelligent decisions. So seek out us for facts, and don't seek necessarily the internet or Facebook for everything you read, because a lot of it's not right. Anyway, thank you, Judge.
Thank you so much, Dr. Klopman, for the research you're doing and keeping us all abreast. I spoke with Dr. Klubman, Dr. Boom just yesterday about the strategies we're taking, and we're watching very closely the guidance that they and other experts are sharing with us. One of the things we've discussed, and we've discussed this with Dr. Shaw as well, is if folks begin going out more than they should today, and to reiterate, unless you have to, you really should not. We won't see that spike for another 2 weeks or more. So just remember, these guys and we are going to be watching, but we want to caution folks that if we don't see a spike tomorrow or next week or in 10 days, that does not mean that we're not going to see one once that incubation period of the virus is through. So that's just something that I'm looking at and wanted to share with the community. So we'll open it up for questions. Folks are here. I know Dr. Klotman might have to leave in a little bit, but the rest of us are here to answer questions as well.
Juez, para los medios en español primero, ¿qué sucederá con aquellos negocios que decidan abrir sus puertas el día de hoy, que no decidan abrir sus puertas el día de hoy? ¿El condado los va a respaldar?
Repítame, los negocios, o sea,
aquellos negocios que decidan no abrir sus puertas el día de hoy, ¿el condado los va a respaldar?
Bueno, los negocios pueden abrir las puertas si es que son negocios esenciales bajo las órdenes que ya han existido, o si son negocios que se pueden reabrir bajo la orden del gobernador. Eso es ventas, restaurantes, todo eso 25%, lo que él ha escrito en su orden. Que puedan abrir no significa que deban abrir. Entonces, le pido, si usted trabaja para uno de negocios, pregúntele a su supervisor, si usted es supervisor, dueño de negocio, mire si es esencial o no esencial. Todavía puede contactar al condado con preguntas. Y también recordar, si ven negocios abiertos que no deben estar abiertos, repórtelos. Estamos trabajando con todos los oficiales para intentar manejar eso, si esa es la situación que necesitamos ir y notificar a un negocio que debe cerrar, que no ha cerrado, lo haremos. Hay una línea de atención en readyharris.org para reportar negocios que no deben abrir.
Usted como juez, ¿qué hará una vez que vea el incremento en casos y muertes en la fase 1?
Otra cosa que recordar es, estamos trabajando por contener. Entonces, esta estrategia de tratamiento, de rastreo y de pruebas es para intentar contener el virus. El éxito solamente llegará si es que tenemos la colaboración de la comunidad. Por eso hoy no es día de celebración y de todos salir. Si empezamos a ver un incremento en los casos que sea preocupante para los líderes hospitalarios, para nosotros, habrá que hablar con el gobernador, ver qué vamos a hacer, y pues la solución sería tener que volver a cerrar. Entonces, es posible que esta estrategia funcione, esta estrategia de abrir poco a poco, pero solo va a funcionar si todos nos ayudan a hacerlo así, poco a poco. En el condado seguimos ayudando lo más que podemos. Hemos asignado ya $10 millones a pequeñas empresas, $15 millones adicionales a individuos que no puedan pagar la renta, los biles, incluyendo comunidad inmigrante, y seguimos viendo qué se puede hacer, pero la idea es que si tenemos una recaída y toca regresar a donde estábamos hace un mes, sería peor, aún peor para la economía, porque tendríamos que esperar todo un mes más para volver a donde estamos hoy día. Entonces, lo mejor que podemos hacer es poco a poco tener cuidado, respetar estas recomendaciones y así intentar que salir de aquí exitosos.
¿Cuál es el estatus actualmente del fondo para la gente más necesitada y todavía se puede solicitar para la ayuda?
El condado aprobó el día martes pasado, este martes, se aprobaron $15 millones para las personas más necesitadas. Recuerden que esta comunidad siempre se une para apoyar a todos. Ahora, este reto es diferente porque no solo nuestro condado, sino todas las ciudades, todos los condados, países están enfrentando el mismo virus. Ya hace un mes creamos el fondo con 2 fundaciones para apoyar también a personas que están teniendo dificultad pagando la renta y otras necesidades. Ese fondo ha recaudado más de $11 millones y sé que se está distribuyendo los fondos. El fondo del condado de $15 millones adicionales, estamos trabajando, se aprobó el martes, toma un tiempo que los abogados revisen todo, trabajen con la fundación, porque esto se va a distribuir a través de una fundación para que sea todo independiente, en nada que ver con la política ni con los líderes elegidos, sino todo distribuido a través de una fundación independiente. Tomará un par de semanas a que empiece a fluir esos fondos y ya en cuanto tengamos más detalles le informaremos a la comunidad.
Y en español, por último, una persona indocumentada y sin seguro médico recibirá el mismo tratamiento y atención que aquellas que tienen seguro médico.
Sí, pero si usted es una persona indocumentada, inmigrante, recuerde, puede llamar a nuestra línea de atención para hacerse pruebas. Eso le pedimos que por favor lo haga porque así vamos a poder contener el virus. También los trabajadores sin documentos, si tienen un hijo ciudadano, pueden también recibir el cuidado de niños que ha establecido el condado en sociedad con la ciudad. Los fondos, los 15 millones, los estamos diseñando especialmente para aquellas comunidades que no reciben ayuda del gobierno federal, entonces particularmente la comunidad inmigrante indocumentada. Y finalmente, si se presenta a un hospital público, se le dará tratamiento. Las pruebas a través del condado son gratis, por eso lo invito a hacerse la prueba a través del condado. No se pide seguro, no se pide información, y en el hospital público no se le pedirá ningún tipo de información de ciudadanía y podrá llevar a cabo tratamiento.
Okay, good afternoon, Judge Hidalgo. I got a couple of questions here from our poll media. First question is, there are reports about possible fraud in the PPP program. Have you heard anything about this? Have you possibly thought about doing a Justice Department investigation? And will you call for an investigation through Congress?
We've heard the reports as to the PPP program. I know that all levels of government are pulling together to try and support the community. Obviously, the federal government has the capacity to do a lot more at the county. What we've been trying to do is serve as a bridge while those funds from the federal government arrive, or for folks who don't qualify for the federal funding, what can we do? And that's why we've established the Small Business Assistance Program, $10 million, an additional $15 million this week for communities who have trouble paying rent, basic necessities, and we're doing that through the Greater Houston Community Foundation again, and of course supporting the fund by the United Way and the Greater Houston Community Foundation. It's raised over $11 million also for direct financial assistance to help folks pay their bills, pay their rent. We will continue to look with our county attorney into any possible allegations where the county may be able to make a difference, be it through our own procedures or through any sort of other communication with other levels of government. But of course, the PPP program, not a county program, so unfortunately it's not under our jurisdiction, but we're watching closely.
Okay. Last question here. On Tuesday, Commissioner Court voted to hire 48 contract tracers. I believe this is 48 or 43. When will they start working, and how will they be trained?
So our efforts here at Harris County is to try and make this reopening a success. It's a timeline that perhaps I would not have necessarily chosen, but I am cautiously hopeful that it can succeed if we do our part and everybody else does their part, and that's what these efforts are about. And so we set out a goal. We need 300 contact tracers in addition to the ones we already have. On Tuesday, we moved to hire 48 supervisors. So these are the epidemiologists, the supervisors that are going to be managing the team of contact tracers. We're also recruiting and training volunteers. We're on our way. Probably the goal to have the first phase will be next week. We're not going to be able to hire all 300 at once, but what we hope is folks will do their part and do their part in staying home and using face coverings and supporting our contact tracers to where as those contacts begin to happen, we can stop the virus in its tracks. Yes.
Just to clarify, the question was 48. It was actually 43. just to make sure that we have that clarified. Judge is absolutely right. These are epidemiologists, and these are folks that are supervising the team of 300 contact tracers that are being onboarded. It's not that we don't have contact tracers. This is to augment that, and we are ramping that up. So it's a ramp-up process where we're bringing in some percentage initially and then increasing over time. And that, just to clarify, in addition to what the judge just said.
All right. Thank you all so much. Appreciate everyone's support. Thank you.
Hey, guys, thank you.